for Judy Morgan's celebration of life. We're going to start the service now in a couple of seconds with Tina, our celebrant. At the end of the service, folks, there's loads of time for everybody to pay their condolences to Richard and the family here. So don't worry, at 3:30 we'll be staying open to the public, okay? Thanks, Tina.
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. You're all very welcome here today, and thank you for being here to remember and celebrate the life of Judy Morgan. We'd also like to welcome those who can't be here in person, but who are listening online. My name is Tina Hunt. I'm a civil celebrant, and I've been asked by the family to lead the ceremony today. Firstly, I'd like to convey my own condolences to Judy's husband Richard, her mother Jean, brothers Peter and David, Judy's nieces and nephews in America, Richard's niece and nephew in Australia, and all other family members and dear friends.
When we started the voyage, there
Christy Moore as the Voyager. I'd like to now invite Judy's sister-in-law, Jacqui, to speak.
Afternoon all. I've been given the honour to speak on behalf of the Chapman and Morgan family in celebration of Judy's life. Judy was born in Maine in 1964 to Jean and Charles Chapman. The family moved to Allentown, where Judy spent her youth, attending school and college, where Judy excelled. She was working with Bausch Lomb in 1999 when she met Richard while staying in the Marina Hotel. He told us during the week that there was great speculation as to whether they were going out together or not amongst his friends. So he had vouchers for the Brandon Hotel in New Ross, so they decided they'd go there for the night. And to prolong the speculation for their friends, they said, sure, look, we'll buy a fake engagement ring. But being the typical romantic Irishman, Richard says, no, so we might as well get the real thing. And the rest is history. Judy's mum, Jean, visited Ireland several times, and Richard and Judy looked forward to those visits. Judy often spoke of her mum's 80th birthday, where they had a great tour of Ireland. Judy was also a great friend of our dad, Dick, and it is appropriate that the service is here in Tramore, where she spent many hours chatting over Sunday lunch. To give you a taste of some of Judy's many interests, she followed American politics, she liked her TV shows, especially the cookery programs, and she liked to have a little flutter with Paddy Power. She enjoyed a little tipple, and dare I say, the odd cigarette. Judy was a fairly shrewd lady, but I talked her into a not so shrewd investment. Knowing she liked to flutter, I suggested we invest in a racehorse, a syndicate, not one of my best ideas. Alas, our horse, Ladies' Easeman, has yet to feature, but I think that Judy fancied being an owner. One more little anecdote in relation to Judy. During one of her stays in hospital in ICU, Judy was communicating just by writing, and she was communicating with my sister Shelia. She had written 3 letters on a piece of paper, C-H-A, which Shelia presumed was Chapman. How wrong she was. Judy, being her witty self, when asked would she like anything, was suggesting a Chardonnay. Judy was a very brave lady, and she faced her cancer diagnosis with great strength and positivity. She continued her work with Bausch Lomb and travelled 3 times to America to visit her family, her last trip being 3 weeks ago for her nephew David's wedding. Throughout her illness, Richard was Judy's greatest support. Judy's long battle is now over. May Judy rest in peace.
Thank you, Jacqui. And I'd just like to say that yesterday Jacqui told me they owned half the leg of a horse between them. So I couldn't quite work that one out. And now Mark Brennan will very kindly sing John Denver's Annie's song.
Thank you. You're all welcome to join in. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Come, let me love you, let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter, let me die in your arms. Let me lay down beside you, let me always be with you. Come, let me love you. come love me again. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again.
Thank you, Mark, that was lovely. And now Joe Dowling would like to speak.
On Saturday, when Richard asked me to say a few words about Judy and Bausch Lomb, I agreed on the basis that other than Graham Biddle, I don't think there's anyone still in Bausch Lomb that has worked with Judy for as long and over so many different activities. However, once I hung up the phone, I started to wonder how could I describe the depth, breadth and complexity of the interaction of Judy and Bausch Lomb in a manner to which she would agree with and approve. Bausch Lomb was very important to Judy, and she was very important to B&L. The Irish and the Irish and the US flags are at half-mast today in the facility here in Waterford in her memory and in recognition of her. I hope my few words will do the Judy-Bausch Lomb relationship justice. I'm certain that when she started work with Bausch Lomb Rochester in September 1992, that she never would have believed the direction her life would take from that decision to join the company. She would have been incredulous to hear that she would meet the love of her life in Richard in Waterford, and that she'd spend almost all of the second half of her life here. I met Judy in 1994 when I joined Bausch Lomb and went to Rochester. A characteristic which I saw immediately was that if you were willing to learn from her, she was very willing to share her knowledge and expertise with you. For her, we were not making disposable pieces of plastic. We were making sterile precision optical devices which make people or patients see well. In every circumstance, whether in product development or with a manufacturing change, her mindset was always, will this be a benefit to the patient? Almost regardless of the time, delay and cost that it might entail. Ultimately, she believed that if you gave the patient the best product, everything else sorts itself out. During her first period of work with Bausch Lomb, she was the lead lens designer for 4 new products and provided lens design support for transfer to manufacturing, scale up, and process improvements. The designs that she came up with were critical to the success of several contact lens products and are protected by 4 granted patents. Understanding shape factor and applying it to lens designs and developing the toric lens design of soft lens 66 toric were particularly notable contributions from that time. She knew the manufacturing processes in detail, from tool making to molding to curing to wet lens processing and packaging. I was never a smoker, but I knew that in work it's very useful to have a friend who smoked, and that was Judy. Because they will tell you what's going on in the company. The smoking shed has an alternative communication network with employees at all levels of the company. Admittedly, why anyone would smoke in Rochester in winter is really beyond me. The lens design for soft lens 66 toric, which for a long time was the best toric contact lens on the market and still a significant profit contributor to Bausch Lomb, came from Paul Erickson, who was the VP of R&D at the time, and Judy out smoking and discussing lens designs. In 2000, much to the surprise of many, Judy made a total lifestyle change to open the Footbridge Wine Bar, which on occasions became an annex to the main Bausch Lomb Waterford facility. While popular for wine and food, unfortunately the buffalo wings, whether due to the materials or staff available, were never up to Rochester, New York standard. After the wine bar, Judy became involved indirectly with Bausch Lomb again, as she worked for a contractor validating the facilities for the Lettucert Pharma plant. She then returned to contact lenses and worked remotely with the Blind Holden Vision Institute based in Sydney, Australia. The time difference suited Judy because, as many of you know, she was not a morning person. In 2015, she started consulting with Bausch Lomb Research and Development and became a Bausch Lomb Ireland employee in November 2016. She was a bridge between Rochester and Waterford R&D and manufacturing groups. During this period, she was both managing early feasibility R&D projects and manufacturing platform improvements. When running a validation or looking at a process issue, Judy seemed to understand what was going on even before the data became available. Because of her intimate process knowledge, it appeared to some that she was able to communicate with the lens-making lines directly. Her attention to detail to protect the patient would sometimes irritate people, particularly with the crystal process in Waterford, but it was done for the best of reasons to protect the site. One other certainty about Judy while she was working was that there was a week in March for the Cheltenham Festival that she'd be taking off. Over the past 4 years, she never lost contact with Bausch Lomb. She always wanted to know what was going on and was always willing to offer her experience and knowledge. She was an excellent strategic and tactical thinker with strong problem-solving abilities. I've talked about Judy's technical skills, but what not everyone realised that for Judy it was all about people. She cared about the patients and her fellow employees. She encouraged and empowered team members and led by example. She mentored many engineers in Rochester and Waterford to be more expert in their careers. She was especially interested in mentoring women in technical roles, and there are several women in Rochester, Waterford and elsewhere who owe their confidence in their current careers to Judy. She made many very significant contributions to Bausch Lomb and will be seriously missed for her knowledge, expertise, advice and friendship. May Judy rest in peace.
Thank you, Joe. And now Eric would like to speak.
Hi, folks, and what a great honour it is to talk about Judy, Richard, and thank you for the opportunity. I suppose to put into context why the Undertaker is speaking about Judy, I'll put it this way: I was Judy's driver, friend, chauffeur, food critic and acquaintance for 20 years. She was an extraordinary woman from the first time I picked up Judy in January 2005. We became great friends instantly, and every journey we just talked, whether it was food, from Melbourne to Mayor's Walk to Maine to Munich. It didn't matter where to get the best samosas, where to get the best this, where to get the best that. And every time I finished a journey with Judy, I knew what we were having for dinner, or we knew what we were doing the next night at least. I'm really sad at her passing, obviously, like everybody else. She was a lovely, lovely person. She always had a really warm heart and kindness when I used to drive her, even though I could be late sometimes. She was always waiting for me with a smoke outside Shannon Airport or Dublin Airport. So, but one thing I will take for this, and I'll finish with this, is that she loved her life here in Ireland. She loved you, Richard. And every time she was in the car on the way home, she couldn't wait to get home. She couldn't wait to get home to you, Richard. She couldn't wait to get home to her dogs, the cats, and back out to the Uluru or to watch Munster or to whatever it was that weekend. Because it was always a Saturday I picked up Judy, or a Sunday. So I suppose God bless you, Judy, and we'll be bringing you on your last journey to Cork on Wednesday. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thanks, Richard, for the opportunity again, and my condolences to the whole family.
Thanks, Eric. The final speaker for this afternoon is Richard Brennan, who is Richard's nephew. Richard.
So this poem is called The Last Race. The November sun is setting. The bookies start to yawn. The ground is strewn with broken hopes. The day is almost gone. As the final silks flash by and make their way towards the start, it is the beginning of the end. This is where I must depart. I've cheered my share of champions. I've backed a few good winners. And I've seen more days at Cheltenham than most people had hot dinners. I saw the greats when they were great. Desi, Red Rum, Arkle. Just like the Queen Mum's brooches, they didn't shine so much as sparkle. Now we're charging up the field. I see what a race it's been. How fully have I lived it, the wonders I have seen. I suppose it's now or never, for a final word or 5. Never leave the party early, never be the one to drive. Always lift your hat in greeting, always rise to greet the day. Never back the favourite, always make the bookies pay. Do not weep at the finish line, I've lost far less than one. Save your grief for someone else, mine was a race well run.
Thank you, Richard. That was lovely. Now for a piece of music, and as most of you know, Judy was from Allentown in Pennsylvania in the States, and so we have Billy Joel's Allentown. We'll sing it.
No. It's acting up because of all the...
Yeah.
Sorry about this. Technical issues.
I often wondered where Allentown was when you was here, Billy Joel sing it.
Yes.
Well, we're living here in Allentown, and they're closing all the factories down. Out in Bethlehem they're building
Lovely choice. We're coming to the close of this ceremony now, and on behalf of Judy's family, I'd like to thank you all for being here this afternoon to share in the celebration of her life. Richard has asked me to convey that you're all very welcome to join the family in the Uluru, Waterford, late this afternoon after 5 o'clock for refreshments. Richard also wishes to thank Dr. Paula Calvert and her team and the staff of Waterford University Hospital for their care and their kindness. Thank you, everyone.
Now, folks, what we're going to do is open up to the public now to take condolences. But we're going to form a queue here, and we're going to walk around this way to Richard and the family and to Judy, okay? So, please.